I think I'm on to Universal/Peacock's plan of attack/strategy here and bringing more interest to the Peacock platform, which I've been on for a little while, and I'm not presently. I have to reactivate my subscription. It's got a good user face to follow, and I think a nice supply of projects, and some of which are quite good. But they have to draw interest, right? I am aware that Peacock maybe does not necessarily have the prominence in subscribership that maybe other platforms do. Or maybe that's just, I don't know, you can't trust the media these days, so maybe they have a good level of interest, maybe they don't by comparison, I don't know. But I hear other streaming services by comparison spoken of in much more familiar regard. But again, it's not to say in any way, I'm not trying to be intentionally dissing towards Peacock. Again, like I said, I've had a good time on it. But it's quite overt in the strategy here. I find it charming. I don't know if this is going to work at all for Universal, but I admire the ambition. And that is to take your interest in Cocaine Bear, if you manage to see the movie in theaters, which I have not yet. I need to. I've been planning on it. I did cover the movie, and it looked quite good. Again, the casting was an immediate draw, and the absurdity in terms of... And again, the film took substantial liberties based on the true story, but the absurdity of the project and how funny it looked as a horror comedy film, I was like, you know what? I'm into it. It looked charming. I've heard that it got good regard among people who did happen to see it, at least from the circles I'm familiar with. But Universal's hoping you take your interest in the movie and say, well, you liked the story there, now let's learn about the realistic story of what actually happened when a bear ingested cocaine for this documentary, Cocaine Bear, The True Story. I'm enticed to watch it, but I'm curious, this is why maybe this project fascinates me beyond just the overt strategy. Can Cocaine Bear draw audiences that might not necessarily be first engagers with documentary projects? I say this as somebody who likes the opportunity to learn as presented through documentaries, and many of you know, if you follow my work, I cover a wide variety of documentaries I've engaged with personally, and ones I've seen that I've loved. I like real story appeals, but there are other moviegoers, speaking as a general pool, that might prefer larger commercial fare and what's available among the major studios. So you might have somebody that says, I don't care as much about the true story. Maybe they acknowledge, that it's important going in, but they'd rather go see Cocaine Bear. Maybe they go and rewatch it over a documentary. So I'm really curious to see if Cocaine Bear draws any interest. Maybe there'll be some headlines to suggest that. I don't know if it'll be mimicked in the ratings reports. I would imagine viewership would be, again, for a documentary by comparison to other types of fare in the entertainment landscape, especially in the cinema world, it would be rather minuscule in comparison, I would think. Just again, like I said, on first suspicion. But I will entertain it. Again, I find it as an engaging conversation starter, and I'd ask for you, if you wish to disclose your perspective on this down below. If you viewed the movie, right, maybe you haven't even seen it yet, like myself, if you have an interest of watching the movie, would you be into learning more about the true story for a documentary, or would you just want to stick to the commercial fare and just, and leave it at that, maybe go rewatch the movie? I'd be very curious to find out down below, because again, I look at documentaries, and while I admire them, I know, again, they don't have a wide reach among every moviegoer. So, to find out if this will work on Peacock's behalf, I don't know. Maybe Cocaine Bear will give them bragging rights. Most of their cinematic fare anyway that goes into theaters does get a debut eventually on Peacock's platform, because they own that, I believe. Maybe this will draw an audience. We'll see. I'm interested just based on the substance alone about it being related to Cocaine Bear and learning more about this bizarre event, quite frankly. Anywho, here we go. Bear on drugs.
I've heard many variations of the story about the Cocaine Bear.
The what bear?
Cocaine. Yes, the Cocaine Bear.
It's got a good delivery. It mimics that, again, absurdity of like, wait, what happened? The interviews embody that quite well.
The stories was the story of Drew Thornton. Thornton was a police officer.
He was an addict, addicted to adrenaline and excitement.
People say he was as ludicrous could be.
He had about 70 pounds of cocaine on him.
He had a James Bond wristwatch that shot tear gas.
A lot of people noted he was wearing Gucci loafers.
Well, this is very strange.
He developed one of the biggest...
See, I like the personality to it. I think it'll be an engaging watch.
It has corruption, murder,
gun running, you name it.
So conspiracy, violence, it's got everything you could want.
You would never believe this happened.
This is just as good as your Hollywood project, essentially. And hey, I think it's a competent delivery, again, from other documentaries I've seen in the past or what I've consulted on this channel and judged. It's engaging. I feel like the interview personalities are, I'm assuming part of it is strategic as well. Again, it's got a levity because of the absurdity of the story. You have a bear hooked up on cocaine. It's just, like, you hear about the pitch, and when I went into first engaging with Cocaine Bear, I had no clue that actually happened until I saw the title. I'm like, wait, this is a true story? So in terms of the opportunity to learn, I find this quite welcoming. I think the personality to the documentary makes it very charming. And I, again, would inquire with any of you that wish to provide feedback on this, would you find this project engaging as a watch? Or would you be more into rewatching Cocaine Bear again, by comparison? Because I see a lot of draw to this, especially on the story. I'd be engaged to learn about it. Again, it's just a bizarre event, and I would want to dig deeper. I mean, again, I'm saying this as somebody who has not entertained the film yet, though I have the aspiration to, 100%. I'm engaged, and would I hop, maybe in a, well, I'd say maybe the level for me in regards to this project. You know, I've said this before in regards to streaming, the way I approach it, because there's so many streaming networks these days, and your money gets thrown around every which way. Anybody who's attached to streaming services knows this. I will stack projects. So I'll first do a bunch of consultations with you, maybe of a particular network when I have time, and I'm very late on covering everything these days, it seems. But I will stack projects, at least on my list. By the time maybe I have a month subscription left on this platform, right, I'll be hopping over and I'll transition. And that way I'm not piling one service on the other and then not watching as much programming from the, because if, let's say you have like maybe 5 streaming services that you're subscribed to versus one at a time. It's much easier to consider projects you want to watch in advance, stack them up and go, okay, for this month, I'm going to watch strictly this network, right? And then maybe you come back eventually. Again, it's a churn thing, I know, but it's the only way these days, at least in my opinion, to make the streaming service format work. Quite frankly, otherwise, it's just stacks of cash you're throwing out. For Cocaine Bear, the true story, I would place this project, I don't know if I would say I'm jumping to it as a main attractant, more so as a project in combination to other works. Maybe I'll time it properly, so if Cocaine Bear does end up on the platform, maybe it is already, I mean, I'm not aware, maybe I'll time it as a back-to-back watch. So I watch the film first, and then I learn a bit more about what actually happened, right? That I could see being a point of appeal and approach, where Cocaine Bear might be the main draw. I'm saying this again in respect. As good as this documentary I think is on delivery, it's quite satisfactory on its quality. I don't know if it's maybe a main attractant watch in isolation. Rather, it's more so attached to something else, so you might watch it in conjunction. I'll still be willing to humor it, though. Again, like I said, many times, what are your thoughts on the project down below, in context to what you just watched, or your presumptions? I mean, do you think this could draw a crowd? I don't know. I don't know personally, but do you think it could for Peacock? I'm sure they want more subscribers. Every network, I'm sure, does, especially now. There's just too many streaming services. It's too much cash to throw out. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the piece, again, if you wish to disclose your perspective. I'm okay with engaging with it. I'm just really curious. Again, the strategy I see here is really funny to me. Being like, okay, you liked the movie, now watch the documentary. I don't know if it could draw an audience, but maybe Cocaine Bear can, and perhaps help in interest. Because it looks like a very engaging documentary here, and I think it'll be a good watch, especially if you want the opportunity to learn like myself. Cocaine Bear's there for you, and it looks quite interesting as a viewing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.